Dead cells, how to paint the miniature. Welcome to my painting guide for painting the miniature. I dislike painting, but I loathe moving grey plastic goo around even more. This is a low resolution video because it's actually more of a podcast with a lot of text and not much to show. There are three ways to have a painted miniature in Dead Cells, like so. One, wait for a seller on the secondary market. It may take years, but people will eventually finish Dead Cells. It depends on the culture though. In the Netherlands nobody paints miniatures because it might impact resale price. Two, pay a professional to paint it. There's a market for painters for money. If it costs less than $130, or what is the same thing, 130 euros, it is worth the money, plus you are not exposing yourself to chemicals. Three, pay a professional to paint it. Well, wait. Three is painting yourself. This costs roughly 130 US dollars in materials, plus takes an entire day. I'll show you the steps involved in summary. Let's first recall some common sense painting principles. Paint after the sun. It's not applicable here because you're not painting inside. Paint inside out, and prioritize contrasting colors. So the shortcut steps are now 6 steps. Step 1 is have a color palette. The video game screenshots show bright colors, as do the player boards. The mini is a combination of heroes, also known as beheaded, so coloring them accordingly to the playmats will result in a sickening goo of different colors. There was just one other guy that also painted the miniature. So there are two persons on the planet that I know of that have painted the miniature. Now the first step would be to paint each mini in its primary color. So as you see here, blue, yellow, green and orange. So you have a kind of an idea of the color palette. Now shaving, PVC miniatures usually have been molded from two halves, sometimes leaving traces of imperfect gluing. This is not the case with Dead Cells, so we can skip this step. Step 3, priming. Priming is essential, and trust me, I tried once without, and the result was paint that did not stick. Was for Robo Rally. Before priming you need a tray to place the mini on and keep in place. So this is just a El Cheapo version, cardboard with duct tape. So you take off the duct tape and you fold it in reverse. So it becomes like this, and you put it in place, and now the mini does not fall off, and you can go ahead. Then plan for a sunny, windless day and some uninterruptible time block. Wear protective clothing. It's very important. So the El Cheapo version is a raincoat, and gloves that are already black, and wear a scarf over mouth and nose. And the latter is very important because you will be coughing chemicals for a week. Been there, done that. Okay, now black primer and white primer from Army something. This, and this. So you need the gun nozzle to put on top. When you, these are 40 euros per primer. You need to protect them from when in storage. I have white and black. First you do the black on the side, so you keep it like so outside. And when you prime, you start to the left of the mini, and then you go over and you end on the right of the mini. Then you reverse it, and you repeat the same process. Then you watch paint dry for about 2 hours, and then you do this exact same thing. This is a roller primer. It's the most accessible and least expensive version. White primer, same thing, but this time not on the sides, but on the top. 30 degrees would be optimal. Do this for both sides. And then you have what is called zenithal priming. Zenithal priming is a lie and does not work. Has never worked. But the only benefit to white and black priming is that you discover details faster. So now, step 4, after the primer has dried for the second time. If the primer did not dry, but it feels tacky, then you should stop your procedure and go to wash it in lukewarm tap water with a little bit of soap and a brush. Use not a metal brush, of course, but brush off, because otherwise you would be painting on tar, and that is, you want to be painting on the plastic itself. Now, step 4, the first pass. Remove the mini from the cardboard holder carefully and apply gentle pressure from the mini base, so like so. Let's see. So assume that this is just black and white. Now get yourself some Vallejo paints, or Vallejo or Vallejo, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. What I used was green, blue, so a primal color blue, orange, bright orange, and red, and of course yellow. For the bright red, you can do without if you decide to not paint the base in red. I was assuming that this was some kind of lava that was conjured up, but this I made into a contrasting color because otherwise it would be one red blob, and contrast is more important. Okay, so then you have a first pass. Now, how to paint? You use El Cheapo plastic dishes and paper towel, and you make a little bit of tap water on the paper towel, so it will be a little bit wet. Not too much, because then you only have water. Ideally, if you hold it like so, then it will stop about here with the osmosis. Then you need extremely expensive brushes. And let's see, this is Army Painter Wargamer small dry brush. This is also Regiment. Regiment is the best for your first pass. And this is Ammo Synthetic Saw Brush. Now for these, I don't know what animal or species was killed and plucked, but they are pretty good brushes. Never use undiluted paint, because you will create blobs and you will destroy the relief. Always use diluted, so you put a little bit here, and then the tap water will make it easier. So you make small wetting of the tip of the brush. For some reason people warn against going all in. Not really sure why, because it it has no noticeable result. So then you will have the first pass, which you'll see that everything is green then, and you want to highlight some contrasting colors. So for that, silver is used. This is called metal. Metal is fantastic stuff. Bronze for the old school medieval thing. Also fantastic stuff. And I used also black. Black was I used last on the bottom, but ideally you should paint it earlier than that. But yeah, you can also do it last. Okay, so the silver highlights the weapons, the shield, and the inside of the hammer. Show more clearly. I forgot one important principle. That is, if you plan to play after dark, then you will be playing under yellow light. So if you do that, you should also paint under yellow light, not white light. After you let it dry for after the second pass for the after you let it dry for the second pass for a day or something, then it is time to use Nuln oil. Nuln oil is from Citadel and is extremely toxic and extremely how do you say, splattery. So before you do this, make sure that you have a paper towel or a wet towel nearby to take off the black splotches. For Citadel Nuln oil, I had to import it from Germany because my country prohibits the use of Nuln oil. Nuln oil is best applied with a broad brush, and just take it from the bottle itself. And when you use Nuln oil, you should go from under to top, and that gives a lot of subtle contrasts. So it highlights the various textures. The alternative would be, this was my first time with Nuln oil, alternative would be to be extremely precise and give all these things a separate shading. That is a little bit too much, especially with a complicated meaning like this. So I hope that this gave you some actionable ideas. Yeah, and in hindsight, I wanted to say that maybe these waves around, you could also consider them as a water spell. So you make them dark blue, then white, light blue, and then white tops. And this pillar could become dark blue water, and then you also have contrast. Yeah, so silver on the shackles and the lock and all kinds of other shackles. Silver on the pointy edges. Silver on the shield itself, of course. And these things that the red dude is holding, they are skulls, I think. It should be you should use a flesh kind of color. Probably it's a necromantic hobby during lunch breaks that he is making skulls or something. Not sure. So let's see, Nuln oil, and we are done. So this is it. So note that I'm not a professional painter, I'm untalented, and I have also shaky hands, so that is not a problem if you're painting. Painting is harmful to the planet and involves chemicals. Your choice at purchasing a PVC miniature game already was harmful to the planet, and PVC is indestructible. At best it will forever remain, and at worst it will burn when your house burns down, and it will produce dioxin, a proven carcinogenic and toxic. So production of chemicals involved in painting was already harmful to the planet. So yeah, you should know the full picture. And this stuff, of course, also was harmful to the planet in production. So that's all, and good luck, and bye.